So I am just on the BJJ Fanatics website, and what's amazing is now we've already talked about Gravity is Your Friend, but there are 2 other instructionals that you might want to talk about.
Recently, I had the opportunity to work with BJJ Fanatics guy, and now we have 3 instructionals out there. We have Escapes Engineered for guys over 40. If you're 40 or more, hey, dig into it. Gravity's Your Friend, sit-up sweeps. Been there for some time, and it's really, really getting a lot of attention. And then we have the Smash the Knee Folding Pass. Now, that's one of my favorites. So if you haven't looked at them, take a look. BJJFanatics.com.
Hey, I'm wondering, do you have a place where we could go to ask all those questions that always come up in jiu-jitsu?
You are lucky. You are very, very lucky. Ask a Black Belt on all podcast platforms, plus our YouTube channel. What I do is essentially I collect questions that you might have and the questions that I've had for all this time being on the mat and record them as a short individual episodes, about 3-4 minutes long, and just put them out there several times a week. So make sure you go, you follow, and tune in.
Yeah, absolutely. Check it out. Subscribe, download, all that stuff, and get those answers to the questions you've always wanted to ask.
Welcome to Raw Radio.
And we're live.
Here we go again.
Oh, that was a good one.
It was a good one.
A lot of information.
Yeah, a ton of information and good stuff too. I think it got pretty deep on like the higher level of jiu-jitsu. And then also I think there's a ton of great stuff in there for new people, older people, younger people. It doesn't matter.
It was perfect for everybody.
It was. So take a listen to Danny's episode, Danny Freestyle. Before we get to the actual takeaway though,
Yeah.
I'm amazed sometimes at the knowledge and the wisdom that these 25, 30, 35-year-olds have when they come here. I know I'm of the generation, us Xers, and then I unfortunately hang around with a lot of boomers who think the younger generations are not, they're soft. That's a big one. They don't care about anything. They're not knowledgeable. And it is awesome to prove all that negative thinking wrong by bringing people like Danny, like Nick, like Dominica a while back. Check out that one to hear a younger person's take on life and how I think that these people they're going to evolve. They'll probably change some things about how they think and their worldview and stuff. But I think they've already got a great grasp of who they are and what's important, and a great knowledge base. So it's really cool to see younger people doing such great things and being smart about it.
Yeah. Simon Sinek talks about this often.
Oh, here we go. Is he paying you?
No, I just like the guy. I think he's smart.
Just because I insulted you a little or made fun of you, don't get quiet. Go ahead. What does he say?
I forgot what it
good.
I moved on.
Good.
No, but listen, he often talks about the generational differences between people, like especially in the community environments or work environments and so on. Mm-hmm. It's always, the old guys are old school. They're doing things the old way, and the young guys, they want everything now, and they want to solve the world's problems and all that. And I think there's something behind all of that. So it's like what worked before. We definitely have accomplished a lot with the knowledge that we've had and our fathers and generations before us, and even ourselves. I mean, you and I, right? But we have to acknowledge in some way the younger people have ideas too, and sometimes they are freaking smarter than all of us.
Yeah,
and it's not only it might appear as their ideas won't work, but I think what we often underestimate that the world is not 20 years ago; it's today, and that world has evolved.
Yeah, and I think those older people I was just talking about with their negative outlook. are a little fearful of that world evolving and changing around them, and it's not theirs anymore, and they're not in control, and the way they think is not looked at as forward thinking in the future, and people get scared, right? And it's great to see people, like I said, younger people coming up who are really killing it, whether they're killing it on the mat or in business or just in their own lives. And what I think is really cool is I see these people like figuring out the negative aspects and the things that have happened to them really early, really young, and saying, you know what? I already know that doesn't work, right? I've been through that and that did not work. So now it's time for something new and it's time for a change. So I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, no, I do agree. And the evolution of life is much faster today. I feel like it's much faster than it was 20 years ago.
Well, just like, and I think, so what we were supposed to be talking about is self-learning. And I think that's a great way to segue to it is the amount of information that we all get now, young or old, if you're keeping up with technology, the amount of information that is coming in is so amazing that you can learn a ton of stuff on your own. Where you don't necessarily need somebody handing you the information. That is what they believe. It's not, you're not indoctrinated. I know that's a big word that people throw around a lot now. But you are not reliant on the people that came before you as much as you used to be. I think we're all lucky and fortunate enough to have that. Now, can you go down the negative road with that and not really be learning things? Absolutely. And I think that's maybe one of the pitfalls of all this new technology and this ease of learning. But it's great to have it available and take advantage of it and push yourself forward with it.
Yeah, Denny said this, which I wrote down the quote, we are drowning in information but starving for wisdom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that. And I'm glad that he brought that up because I think to what you're saying is we do have more access to information than we've ever had, no matter how
Absolutely.
you look at this. And I think this will only increase as time goes on. I think what we often struggle from is the organization of the information and what we really want. And this is where this self-learning thought really comes in. We all have a responsibility to organize that on our own. We do have responsibility to seek what we want to learn, and if you choose not to, that's fine, but there is a consequence behind it. You can't blame anybody by yourself, And I think
ignorance is bliss, right? So I think there's something to that.
Well, but even when it comes to jiu-jitsu, it like we have this old school way of thinking is that you can only learn jiu-jitsu on the mat and you need to be at the academy. And that's true. You need to be on the mat. You can, learn jiu-jitsu fantasizing about it. You have to execute. You have to be working at it. But at the same time, we have all these resources that I've never had when I was a white belt, from books to conversations like this, to YouTube. I mean, virtually unlimited source of information, as long as you know how to navigate.
Yeah.
And then, BJJ Fanatics and all the other guys that doing, or even Roll TV, like, we're putting a small dent into this whole thing by organizing for the students and really putting an effort onto it, right? So, but it is your job, is your responsibility as a student to get these things.
Yeah. And I think it's your job also to cut through a lot of the BS or the things that are feeding you what you want to see, what you want to hear, rather than actually learning. Danny talked a lot about their philosophy at Movement Art about, you teach the person
how to think,
not what to do, not what to do. Right. Yeah. So don't give me the information, or I shouldn't be accepting of the information that sets up my wants, my needs, my desires, my preconceived notions. I should be seeking information that really makes me wiser. Right. So in that self-learning, be sure to think outside of your bubble, outside of your box, and maybe you'll learn, talking about like aha moments, you'll have more of those, even off the mat. And I think it's really beneficial, self-learning to just be seeking knowledge, to be out there looking for information.
Just be hungry, and that's always boiled down to. Well, dude, I don't even remember how many times. I mean, I can't countless amount of times where I remember blue, purple belt, and I'm on a treadmill running, and I'm thinking jiu-jitsu, and I fall off the treadmill because I'm not paying attention to when I'm running. I mean, like this is where you want to be. You know, this idea of showing up for an hour to a class and not doing anything else, it's not enough. It's not enough today.
It's not enough if you want to get good, if you want to learn it. It's enough if that's all you want, if that's all you're seeking.
I guess I'm challenging that train of thought.
Mm-hmm.
I think it needs to go beyond that. You know, it stopping in at the academy for 1 hour and learning a technique or two is not enough in my mind. Like, this is where you, as a student, need to maximize your return. You need
you gotta ask
invest
yourself
into
why you're here, right?
Right. And like, this is where, you know, you learn something at the academy, or you sparring and you trying, you drilling, whatever case is, go home, do a little bit of research on this, journal it, write it down, analyze the situation. Don't tell me you don't have time. Everybody has 5 minutes. Like, that's how I look at it. Okay, you can be on TikTok, or you can be looking at or studying jiu-jitsu.
We all have the same amount of time.
We all have.
It's how you manage it, or
it's how you manage it. What's your priority?
Yeah.
You know, if you really want to learn this, and I'm not talking about you becoming a world champion. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about we just average Joe Schmo.
You don't even have to be the best at the academy or the best at your rank.
You just want to learn.
Yeah.
You want to maximize the return on your investment.
Mm-hmm.
Invest into what you're trying to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. Danny was talking about being the best he could be.
Right.
The best self he could be. Right. So he's trained and worked with some of the greats in the sport, the biggest names in the sport. Got his black belt from arguably one of the top 3 names maybe now. It was all about, you know, he now has the mindset of, you know, I got to work on myself.
Yeah.
I can't compare myself to anybody else. You know, and what I'm seeking is to be the best Danny that I could be. You know, I'm paraphrasing. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but that's what I got out of it was, you know, all these things that I'm doing, all these questions I'm asking, all this knowledge I'm seeking and learning on my own is just so I could be better than I am right now.
Yeah.
You know, not better than the guy across the room. You know, he even talked about, like, you know, he made the comparison of like making money. Well, am I going to quit making money or trying because I'm never going to be Bezos or Musk? Well, no, I need to keep moving forward, and I need to, if I want certain things, well, then I have to learn and move forward and seek knowledge. Don't give up because you're not going to be Mikey Musumeci. You're not going to be Gordon Ryan. Be realistic and just be the best that you could be. And maybe that'll take you to some pretty big places on or off the mats.
You know, yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't know. I'm not. I can tell you right now, I'm not the best I can be, and the reasons for it are very simple because you fall into these traps of tic tac, as you like to call it.
Tic tac.
I don't fall into that, but definitely I scroll too much. I watch too much TV. Time management is a huge one. You want to be better, take all that stuff into consideration and also do a little exploration, right? I think that's what really self-learning is you're out there exploring new things and piquing your interest. You know, read a book outside of your norms. You know, you read fiction, read some nonfiction.
Yeah, I was reading the book.
By Simon Sinek?
No. No. I've read those. He doesn't have a new one. But no, it was this analogy that I came across, and it said, you go to your doctor for annual, and he says your blood cholesterol is high, and typical response, and there were percentages that are shown there, but is a typical response is, okay, I'm going to, I'll make some changes, and nothing really happens. I mean, majority of people don't take any action on it. Now, however, you go to the same doctor, similar scenario, and the response from the doctor is, now you have diabetes. Everything changed. Mm-hmm. Instant changes in your life, simply because priorities have changed. Right now, there is a threat. Now there is a situation. So the question is, how can we respond differently from different situations, even though the end result is the same?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's because one is abstract and one isn't.
Exactly. Exactly.
One high cholesterol.
One is tangible.
So yeah.
One is tangible and aggressive. The other one is, a little bit of not fictional, but a little bit. You can't grasp it, and it takes a long period of time, which requires of us to make habit changes, right? So it was just interesting analogy that kind of stuck with me. In jiu-jitsu and in life, we find ourselves in these spots when we say, I know, I need to stop scrolling, or I need to uninstall this app, I need to get off of Instagram, whatever, but we never do. Until something happens, and then we make all these drastic changes because we want to change it right now. And unfortunately, change doesn't happen quickly. Change is very slow. It's 1% every single. We talk about it often, one step at a time, right? Generate habits and not try to change the world.
Yeah, and the negative could be very similar. It could take It takes a long time. If the first time you smoked a cigarette, you got a lump in your lung.
Yeah, well, that's
people would not smoke a second cigarette.
Yeah.
But because that thing is growing in there over time and you can't see it, out of sight, out of mind, So you're up to a pack a day.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
So
it is what it is.
Yes. So learn, seek out knowledge. Don't feed your preconceived notions.
Take responsibility for your own education. As simple as that.
There you go.
Let's wrap it up.
All right. Peace.
Later.
Thank you for listening to Raw Radio. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave us a review and help us make the show even more amazing. For future episodes, check out our website and follow us on all major podcast platforms. Take care.